The last thing you want to hear when you need your auto insurance most is a robot with countless irrelevant menu options. Which is why with USAA Auto Insurance, you'll get great service that is easy and reliable, all at the touch of a button. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
USAA.
Welcome to Schmactors, a podcast series that seeks to answer the question, are Hollywood actors all spoiled, vapid, vacuous, and vain ingrates, or do some of them actually have interesting views on issues of the day? Or is it a mixed bag? James Marsters and Mark Devine are putting themselves to the test. They're leaving it up to you to decide if they're interesting or just plain nuts. Listen as they peel back their craniums, share the surprising thoughts that fill their heads, and draw back the curtain on the world's zaniest town.
Heidi ho, Mark. I am so happy.
Buddy.
Do you know what? Doing this show gives me an excuse to drink too much caffeine. Normally, I'm like, you got to be careful, dude. Don't drink too much caffeine. But on a show day, I'm like, for professional reasons, I've got to drink twice as much coffee as I usually do.
That's why I miss hanging out with you, because we would encourage each other with caffeine. Now to the point
Chug it, Brah. Chug it.
I don't think I... If you would say that the first thing in the morning, because you were always so kind to get me my coffee in the morning, put it on the side, and if it came with the chug it, Brah, chug it, that would rock. Along with, you would put on Minute by Minute by the Doobie Brothers, and somehow that got me going. I don't know why. To the point I still play it.
Whatever works, man.
Yep.
When you're jet lagged, whatever it takes. All right, Jason, you are in control of all the cool questions. And by the way, thank you everyone who has been writing in questions, and especially thank people who are using the voicemail, which you can go to schmactors.com and leave a voicemail, or you can also leave a text message if you'd like, whichever one. But we've gotten some fabulous questions.
And we love to hear your voices. Because I can picture your faces, most of them.
Yeah.
Hello, Mark, James, and Jason. This is Erin from Maine with 3 quick questions. What's the experience like creating a character for the stage where you know your castmates and the set well, and the scenes are always in sequence, versus having to create one for TV? Steven Spielberg once said that somewhere in a parallel dimension, Jaws is still being made, and he still wakes up having night terrors about it. Did you ever have a production that was like that for you? And 3, silly question, what's it like when you have to play the dead body? Thank
Aaron.
That's awesome. Dead body on stage. I did a lot of smaller roles in the classics. This happened more than once, but I do remember being killed by Macbeth at the Intimate Theater and dying downstage. And then Macbeth just goes on and on about the nature
and everybody's
of
watching
reality.
your body.
Yes, and he's upstage, and
He's
you're
still
right
alive.
next to the audience, and you're just like, and you've just
He's
done a
totally
fight.
breathing.
Yeah, so you're like, you need to go, and you can't, and you're just like seeing stars and everything. You're just like, hurry up, Macbeth! God, you go on forever, you mother. Yeah. So that is not easy. So yeah, when next time you see a play and the person who only has 5 lines is downstage laying as still as they can, just forgive them for still being alive, please.
Right.
God.
Listen. That's the majority of roles I've ever played. The dead guys. My father even said, "You're good at playing dead." I was always dead.
Man.
In fact, I think we put something together, your reel versus my reel, where every single one of mine is like, I'm in a coffin. I've got my head bashed in as a CSI guy is saying like, Jim, this one's for the ages. Ciao, or whatever. I'm always dead.
That's how Kevin Costner got his start. He was dead.
Yeah, that's right.
He was the cadaver.
Well, I think he shot a few. Didn't he? I don't know. I have my thing on 6 Feet Under. The one, God, who's the great actress? Frances. Totally forgetting her name. But I was in the coffin, and it was the first episode that they ever shot, and she said, "This must be a strange experience being in a coffin. Did you have to think about this?" And I'm like, no. I just thought I'd come in and just sleep. She said, "Do you ever think about what it might be to be dead?" And she went into this, and I started having panic attacks, because she's got She's got a monologue, and Tracy Menendorf was in it. She had a monologue, and now I'm freaking out. Where I'm like, I just have to stay still, just while they perform and do a good performance, and I'm having panic attacks because of what she brought up.
She was just messing with you.
I
That's
guess,
horrible.
but I'm like, do I need to research this?
Yeah.
Because 6 Feet Under, they spent a lot of time going to morgues and looking at bodies and all of that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And to the point that Dexter guy, is that Michael C. Hall, or I can't remember his name.
Good actor.
Because my other scene in that was I'm dead on a gurney. I've just got a little cloth over my hee-haw. And he's like, this has got to be the strangest part you've ever played. I think at that time it's the only part I played. And I'm like, yeah, it's kind of weird. Where they had to spray paint my body, to the white, that, the lividity.
Yeah.
All that stuff. And I truly was they needed a body.
That's the thing. If you're dead, then you're not worried about being dead. So you don't have to do any like sense memory, or you don't have to do any like backstory or anything. I'm dead. I'm just meat. I'm playing meat. So leave me alone. Just trying not to breathe. That's it. Francis.
I wish that were the name of the character. Meat. Piece of meat, still dead.
Oh my God. So Erin had 3 parts of her question.
Yeah.
And
Jaws,
I forget the other 2 parts. Oh yeah. What's the most messed up production? The one that comes back to haunt you in your dreams?
You mean, let's see. I did a Mac Wellman play with the Wooster group. I think it was that Willem
theater
Dafoe
company.
Yeah.
He was the naked boy. They would, whenever they needed to sell tickets, they would just put Willem out naked, and everyone would come. When he was young, he was just ripped.
Like, he'll do yoga. I know somebody that does yoga with him, and he believes he doesn't hold his farts in.
Okay.
Like, he's known for when you're doing yoga, it's not like this is your time. He's really into yoga, but he farts so much.
He does fart yoga. Oh, wow. God. There's heat yoga. There's all sorts of yoga, and then there's stink yoga.
But that's kind of that whole group. It was the Bat Theater and Wooster group. Bat Theater was Jim Simpson, who's Sigourney Weaver's husband, and it was insane, man. We did and Mac Wellman?
No, I don't know anything.
A great writer. I usually follow that with super famous. Do you like it when you don't know somebody? Somebody asks, and they're like, "Really? You don't?" He's super famous. You're like, "Wait, who? Mac?" "Yeah, I do." "Oh, okay. I thought you said Bob Wellman." It was called Bodacious Flapdoodle, and it was just insane. It was like experimental theater that they were used to doing, and like the Village Voice.
Like if Bertolt Brecht took acid. It
was like beyond.
We're doing a deconstruction of. Oh, really? Another deconstruction by the Wooster Group. Okay, cool. Yeah,
but it was just the people that I felt like, man, they are really. There's like that fine line of masturbatory theater and actually performing for the audience. And
now, just so people understand, when we say masturbatory theater, we're not talking about actually masturbating on stage. We're just talking about it's more important what I'm going through than what the audience is going through.
Yeah.
Oh my God, are we actually talking about masturbating on stage?
Yeah, they would, I mean, there's like no fear. There's no fear.
There's a line though. There's a line, and maybe that's it. Anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
It could say like parental guidance before you come on in here, but no, we didn't do that. But I mean, I'm just talking rehearsals too. It's like, what if I did this and pulled her breasts out or something? Where I'm like, God. But what was the question? That was
the weirdest, the one that comes back to haunt you. The production that was just such a train wreck that I was in a show, the Marriage of Figaro, which was it's most people think of the opera by Mozart. There we go, exactly. But it's actually it's a really good play by Beaumarchais, and it's a laugh riot. It's actor proof, and it's a laugh a minute classical play about a wily, intelligent servant who wants to get married, But in order to get married, he has to be able to afford a bed for the marriage night. So at least the only thing the bride asked for is like, we have to have a bed if I'm going to marry you. That's all I need. I just want a bed. Okay, honey.
I like her.
And this is France, back before the revolution. So like not all servants had beds, they just had straw. So it's a big ask. And he's trying to get enough money to afford a bed so he can get married. And it's hilarious. And we got misdirected. And I just remember we had a month and a half of shows, 11 shows a week. We didn't get one laugh the entire time. It was such a horrible play. It was crickets the whole
because of how you guys performed it?
Yeah. And I remember in rehearsals everyone was going, this guy's ruining the play. We're like, what? And we were trying, but by the end of rehearsal, it was screaming fits, and it was, the director almost got fired, and it was just a train wreck from beginning to end. And the end result was we just developed this gallows humor where we started to enjoy the fact that we weren't going to get one laugh, and we started to like in jokes. Like I'm definitely gonna. What line are you gonna definitely get a laugh on this one? Like what are you gonna work, and you're gonna commit yourself to getting a laugh on this line? And I promise you, I've figured out this one line. And then they deliver the line. Arctic breeze, and he looks around at the cast like, well, I guess my plan didn't work, he says with his eyes, and you try not to laugh. So by the end of it, we were actually having a blast, but we were just releasing into the horror.
Real quickly, he was in The Birdcage with Robin Williams, great stage actor. Nathan Lane, he was doing a play. It was a huge Broadway play. In the middle, he said, look, guys, we all know that this place sucks. All right. Because I had somebody in there with him, a friend that was with him has just said it never opened. It was like did previews and then just closed. That was it.
Oh, wow.
So,
yeah. It happens.
Sometimes it works.
Happens.
Yeah. It does haunt me real quickly because I know Jason's pointing at his watch, but it haunts me because I did do a play that I was the funny guy, and the audience was laughing at everything. I was used to and it was one of these where every time, and it was the writing, it was called Waiting for Joe at the Dresden, that Jeff Donovan directed that. But as soon as I said my line, I was so used to getting the laugh, like huge laugh. And this time, nothing, almost like they're doing it on purpose. And it still is like one of those dreams where you're looking for your locker combination in high school, or you're naked on stage, where I'm like, from the very get-go, you get that shot of adrenaline of like, oh shit. And then throughout the entire play, they didn't laugh one damn thing at me, almost on purpose. They hated me.
It's like being a pitcher and you get in a bad spot and you can't get out.
And nobody talked about it. None of the other actors came up. They didn't come up and say like, hey man, I don't know what's up with this audience. It's weird.
There was a very famous duo, husband and wife. I forget their names. No one would know them anymore anyway, but this is a long time ago. And they were doing this comedy. And at the end of the first act, the husband's character says, may I have a cup of tea? And he would always get a huge laugh on it. And then suddenly the laugh stopped, and he tried everything he knew. He brought in, he was a really good actor, and he brought all of his technique in and all of his stuff and his acting chops, and he couldn't get the laugh. And he finally asked, what's going on? She goes, oh, honey, it's very simple. You used to ask for a cup of tea. Now you're asking for a laugh.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Hilton brings you new ways to stay, with experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
All right. Katie writes in, Mark, even as a young St. Anne's Tiger, did you always want to be an actor? Were you in Paris at Mige? Did you know Susan Sun is a jazz musician? Would you come back to KC for a St. Anne's reunion?
Oh, that's my buddy Katie. I've known Katie since first grade.
What was she like in first grade?
She was awesome. I won't speak for her, but I remember whenever you start learning to read, you have people that oh God, this still haunts me. Because I always struggled, whatever. We had the nuns and all of that. St. Anne's is just awesome. Yeah, go Tigers. And I struggled to read.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
And so we had to sit at a certain table, those who didn't read as well. And we all caught up, but I just remember Katie and I came up with calling somebody a taco butt. And in first grade, it's the funniest thing you've ever heard.
Yeah. It's actually pretty funny now.
So,
think about smelling a taco. It's not that different. I mean, how do we pay for that?
Katie was always funny as hell and awesome. And yeah, hi, Katie. I love you. I miss you.
Now, what were you like in first grade? Were you more like Jackson, your son? Like super cute and adorable, or were you already going into your James Dean phase?
No, I was Sparky, my whole life growing up.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I was like. I think I'm just thinking of me and Katie laughing. So I think we always were looking for stuff to laugh at. So we did this play called Dr. Manners, I think in sixth grade. And I would write plays with my friend Ted Schmidt. I wrote a play. The whole reason we wrote it, and so Dr. Manners was this thing about I got to play the doctor. We all got sick. We all got the flu. And so we never put it on, or like somebody else. Huck Richardson took my place. You know Huck? Yeah.
No.
Everybody's going to really enjoy these stories because they have no idea what the hell I'm talking about, except for Katie. But we put on a play. It had to be appropriate for the school. And so I thought this boy finds this bag of money and the devil is saying, don't do it. His name is Bernard. And the God is telling him, if you return, and I played God, I cast myself as God. And I said, if you return the money, you will be a saint. Your name will be Saint Bernard. And the whole class, and I'm like, the whole reason I wrote it was to get that. The kids went crazy. And then God's sister, or no, she wasn't a sister, Mrs. Atkins, I think it was, wanted to put it on in front of the whole school. And I'm like, yeah,
that was comedy gold.
That was comedy gold just for that, that part. Now you asked Ted Schmitz, he doesn't even remember doing this. We took the Leave It to Beaver. We tape recorded that. That was the best when you were a kid, just making stuff up. It was awesome. I love that. I love all my classmates at St. Anne's.
Right on. It scarred you, but we're not gonna talk about
there was some stuff.
Not the classmates, but the adults.
We all went through it together. We all went through it together. Oh, I won't go into picture day.
We're not.
No,
we're not gonna go.
no.
It's not funny.
We all fainted.
What's next for us, Jason?
Alina would like to know, what are the tricks actors use to make their characters irresistible? Are there any special looks in the eyes, etc.?
Don't blink.
Vaseline on the teeth. Oh,
yes.
Every single time. There's no tricks. No, all the tricks are done by other people. And there's lots of tricks used. There's music is the biggest trick.
Yeah.
That's the one that if it's done well, you're not really processing as an audience member what it's doing to you, but it's doing a lot. Sound effects, stuff like that. Editing, camera placement. You would be amazed by how important it is of where that camera is placed. All of the, sure. All we are creating a spell together. And that, I don't know, Mark, like I think my job was not to give the lie to all of the rest of the people's work. So I was trying to root everything in a reality so that everyone would buy the bullshit. I just have to be super believable so that you're not noticing that there's music there and there's special effects going on, and there's editing happening, and you're just believing what's happening.
Yeah.
But Yeah, and if I can keep it real, then all of the magic pixie dust, then all of that magic accrues to me because no one else can be seen on the frame. That's the glorious thing about acting is there's 500 people making any frame of film, and 499 people disappear when they say action, and I'm just the only one that can be seen. So it looks like I'm doing something amazing when I'm just trying to be normal.
Well, I think it's even more amazing on stage. Damn man, I miss stage. I'm gonna audition for the local theater here in Georgia.
Awesome.
Yeah, the Aurora. But it's they want me to come up. Like when you're a young actor, you got to come up with a dramatic monologue and and a comedy. And I'm like, oh God. So I had Aaron, one of our fans, recommend a bunch of this stuff to me, but
good.
I miss on stage. I had a monologue, I remember, and it was a hard monologue for some reason, but they always played music like after the first sentence. So I was when I fuck this up, at least the music will save me. People will like the music. And that always
you
made
should
me
do that for your audition. Put music behind your dramatic monologue.
I used to do that at Wynn Handman's. I would put I think it was called I can't remember. It was this super ethereal kind of music, and so I'd always play it. And he's like, turn off the music. just do it regular. Why are you always bringing music in? It's because I'm like, well, I don't know. It's like, do better with music. I think you'll like it better. It's like, this isn't a music class.
That's great. Well, you tried,
But I think you're right, man. I think with everything, God, I hate to go back to Ronald Reagan. He said, once you can show them that you're pretending to be truthful, you fooled them all, or something like that.
Okay, yeah, you're quoting a bad actor, and we don't have to get in about the political stuff about whether he was a good president, but I think we can all agree that Ronald was a bad actor. He was not as good as the chimp that he.
Bedtime for Bonzo.
Yeah,
that was a good gig.
A lot of bad actors work.
Yeah,
we were referencing last week. We were referencing the original Hawaii Five-0, which if you want to see
Jack Lord
bad acting, watch Jack Lord. Oh my God.
But it worked, dude. Like who's the guy? One of my favorite movies, To Live and Die in L.A. William Peterson, I think.
Mm-hmm.
He was the guy, I think the first guy in CSI Miami or something. CSI, one of those CSIs, I think.
Yeah, he's a good stage actor too. Chicago.
Is he a stage actor as well? Because I can see the stage acting.
He was in this amazing play called Belly of the Beast.
Oh, because
incredible.
He's very theatrical on film, but it works. And you watch To Live and Die in LA, he plays the biggest badass. But you watch it, and if you're just to isolate him, you'd think, God, he's so bad. But it works. He's so good.
That's kind of like me on Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. So theatrical. So huge.
Did you ever have a threesome with any of those actresses?
This is it. I would tell all actors across the world, like, don't date fellow actors when you're working with them. This is the thing. Yeah. If you're working in an office and you date somebody in the office, and then the inevitable things happen, one of two things are going to happen when you date someone. Either you're going to marry them and live happily ever after, which doesn't happen all the time. I think we all know that.
Yeah.
Or the other thing happens, which mostly happens, which is you break up and don't want to talk to each other anymore. That's completely normal. But if you're working in an office, you have to go talk to that person because you work together, and it's super uncomfortable. With acting, you might have to get really close to that person. You might have to trust them. You might have to do an emotional scene with them, or God help, you have to kiss them after you've broken up. And then, oh God, it's horrible.
I did that
for obvious reasons. So don't ever date a cast member.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Okay, Jason, I think that we mauled that question for all it was worth. What else we got?
All right. Claire from New Jersey wants to know, what's your favorite word?
Exaltation. I love groupings of animals have different words. It's pride of lions. Every different animals and groups have different names. And with larks, it's exaltation of larks. And if you see a bunch of larks taking off at the same time, you understand why they want to say that. So for me, it's exaltation.
Exaltation, like to exalt, like isn't that
To
God? Exaltation.
I never thought of it in a religious term. I just thought of it like, yay,
Yeah.
we're happy. There's sunshine.
Yeah.
Yay, we're all together. Yay. Yeah.
I like the word hello. I like hello because it's just kind of like opens up like, oh, hi, and you go from there or you don't go from there. It's a simple word.
Everything. It's hello. Actually, that's really good. Also, that brings up another really good word is yes. There was a great story of John Lennon. He's walking in New York and he sees an art installation. This woman is having an art. Her art is up in a storefront. And he goes in there and there's a rickety ladder, and you're supposed to climb up the ladder. So he climbs up the ladder and he's like rickety. He gets all the way up to the ceiling. And there's a little tiny Post-it note at the top, and he has to strain on his tiptoes at the top of the ladder to read it. And the word is yes.
That's awesome.
And he said, if that word had been no, he would have walked out. But it was yes.
That's pretty cool.
To stick around. And that's when he met Yoko Ono. That was her piece.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the guy that killed him.
Nope.
That would be
no,
okay.
Mark.
That would be
that was
no.
Not Mark's art. No, Mark didn't do art. Chapman, not Devine.
Yeah, Mark David Chapman. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. So yes is a good word. But this is also interesting. Favorite words of people who don't speak English are always really kind of surprising. Like they asked Japanese people what the most beautiful word in the English language was. You know what they picked?
Love.
Diarrhea.
No.
I'm not kidding.
Because who doesn't like it?
No, but if you have no idea what the word means,
it sounds beautiful.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Diarrhea.
Yeah,
Diarrhea.
like a breeze.
It just sounds good.
Yeah.
And which makes me think like when they made up that word, like this is the most foul thing. We're going to have to make it palatable. Body. Let's make a word that is just like kind of makes up for the fact that whenever you say it, you think of something like it's the worst thing in the world. So let's aphansia. Something breezy. Diarrhea. Yeah. Maybe my favorite word is actually diarrhea. I don't know. It's hard.
Yeah.
That or exaltation.
That's Jackson's new word where he knows syllables. And so he'll do diarrhea. Four. Because he doesn't know any curse words. It's blood, poop, throw up, diarrhea.
Yeah. Good for you that he doesn't know any curse words.
And when he gets mad, he'll just yell those.
Yeah. You need something to
you got it.
To be mad with.
Yeah.
Good for you, Dad. Doesn't know those words yet. Let him learn them from other people.
Poop.
Yeah. Okay, Jason. That's all we got on favorite words. What else we got?
Claire would like to know, what's the most ridiculous way you've gotten a scar or other long-term injury?
I got the scar across my nose sometime in the 80s. I don't think we were wearing seatbelts in the 80s. Am I correct? Going to a Genesis concert.
You weren't wearing seatbelts in the 80s. The rest of us
were other people wearing seatbelts in the 80s?
Yes.
I thought maybe because everybody that I brought to the Genesis concert, it would look cool if I wore no seatbelt. Banged it up against the steel steering wheel at the time. And just still have that.
Wow.
Did I tell you I had surgery on my Achilles?
No.
Did I challenge this 18-year-old to a race? He was an all-state football player here. He's part of our family. And we're at a family gathering. And, I'm not drunk or anything. And I said, I bet you I could beat you in a race. And so the whole family gathered around. And they said, on your mark, get set, go. I felt like somebody kicked my shoe off. I looked back. Nobody's there. He's running, and my whole Achilles just ruptured.
Wow.
And of course, Jackson's going like, Daddy, what happened?
Oh, God.
And Katie's like, why would you do this? Your job is walking. And I'm like, hold on. It's nothing.
Were you trying to be like, Jackson, just, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
No, because he thinks
you
like
just
I
wanna
can do
cry.
everything.
Yeah.
He was really scared. I'm like,
of course.
And then
you
Katie
don't
sent
wanna
me a
freak
thing
him
on
out.
midlife crisis of going through that. Because in my mind, I'm like, I can do this. So the whole family has this. The whole family saw this.
Oh, that's great.
You know, of me thinking that I'm still 20 years old.
Because Thanksgiving is going to be so fun from now for the rest of your life. They're going to be able to talk about that when the conversation slows. Someone's going to bring up that story.
I'll have a scar that will remind me that I'm also the guy when the 18-year-old waitress, and I'll talk to her and I'll think, oh, interesting. She seems to like me a little bit, you know? I'm like, oh, I'm turning into that inevitable douchebag old guy that I'm not. I'm not that guy.
We all have an image of ourselves as about 28 years old. We all do. And that never goes away. I'm sure when I'm 80 years old, if my self-image in my brain, if I think of myself, it's going to be me.
I wonder if she's thinking about me.
Wow. Well, that was interesting. We're old. So moving on. Jason, let's go. Let's do some more.
All right. Aaron would like to know, if cavemen and astronauts got into a fight, who would win? And no, the astronauts don't have weapons.
That's what I was going to ask.
Why can't they have weapons?
Well, to make it fair.
But that makes it unfair. The only thing that the astronauts would have is technology. The only thing modern humans would have is technology. We have nothing else.
The cavemen, they couldn't, even though they've invented fire, they can't light it in space. Are they fighting in space or like on the ground?
That would be undetermined.
Yeah.
Aaron does not tell us where this fight would take place.
So in the vacuum of space, I think it would be a draw, because both sides would be like, freezing to death. But, Captain Kirk actually answered this for us. So in an episode of Star Trek, the original series.
Where he read the Constitution?
Nope. Different one. Although that was a good one. He was on a planet and there's a big lizard dude and they had to fight to the death and he just scampers away and starts looking for stuff. And for some reason he finds sulfur and he finds a rope. I don't know where he finds these things. And he finds something he makes basically a cannon and he shoots the lizard guy with this cannon and kills him. Ha ha. Now
the people.
So Captain Kirk wouldn't need technology. Captain Kirk would be able to find the technology. But if I'm getting chased by a lizard guy, I don't think I'm going to probably find the sulfur. I'll probably find a blade of grass, like a stick, a twig, or some dirt, frankly, realistically speaking. So,
and since we know that there are going to be people screaming at their speakers right now, the lizard person is called a Gorn.
A Gorn.
Oh boy.
It was the Gorn. It was Captain Kirk versus the Gorn.
This is on Star Trek.
Say lizard people anymore. That's not
okay.
It's not. Yeah, Gorn.
Yeah.
They identify as Gorn.
Trouble
so
with
you got to
Twibbles.
give them that.
Yeah.
Definitely. So I would say that the cavemen would definitely win. Definitely. Because basically what you're doing, if you say no technology.
So they don't have their space suits on.
Oh. Because then they could use those as tools. They could fashion weapons could rip apart their spacesuits and make weapons. That's good. I don't know what kind of weapons
so it's just
make.
Guys, just like in their suits that happen to be space people.
Ooh, but see, that's the thing. You would have to be able to scamper away to give yourself time to rip apart the spacesuit and make weapons, but you can't scamper in a spacesuit. So you'd be trying to scamper and you'd be slowly lumbering away from
I think the
Gorn
cave
or
people
whatever,
would rip them
to shreds. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But it's not a fair question because you're basically putting the astronauts in the caveman's environment. And so the caveman is used to that environment, can use it to his advantage or her advantage. And so, the modern human is like, I've never been around this. I don't know what to do with this stuff. There's
a lot of the times when I come across a dog that I'm not sure is friend or foe, and I ask, are you friend or foe? I'll get down on my knees and allow the dog to gently kind of see me being subservient and then come to me. And then I'll say, who's a good boy? And then I see the tail wag, which is a dead giveaway for, okay, we're in this together. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, I've manipulated him to the point of, I just want to show you some love and rub your head. So if I came across cavemen, I would try not to laugh because they just kind of look funny to me.
Yeah.
And then
You don't
B,
wanna laugh at a caveman.
I would see if I could pet them. And then I bet you, once I started petting them, you look for that lick.
Yeah.
And then you're like, guess what? And then I'd whisper into their ear, I'd won.
Maybe modern day emotional manipulation might win the day.
Yeah.
Because there'd be no tools. That would be your only hope.
Just use your brain.
manipulate them.
We don't have to use weapons.
Yeah.
But
But
then you pull out your laser gun.
that does bring up, and maybe I've mentioned on a previous podcast, but they do think Neanderthals were more intelligent than modern humans. So
Yeah. Listen, I don't put it past them. At this point, come on.
they'd probably emotionally manipulate us,
Yeah.
They just have me crying.
And then eat
Yeah.
us. That's all
No.
right. Okay.
They would just make us slaves. All right, Marky, we're back. And I feel like we're off to the races.
Yeah.
And now we just got to edit out all the nasty parts and we got a show. This is good.
Sorry about those. Every now and then. I just like to see Jason.
Wince?
Somewhat. Yeah. I don't care.
Yeah.
Just to, as an audience member, can we get him to laugh?
Thanks for listening to Schmactors. Join James and Mark next time for more pointed pontification on the topics of the day. Do you have a burning question that you just can't wait to have the guys answer? Well, then head on over to schmactors.com and send it our way. If the answer won't get them canceled, we'll add it to the queue. And if you have a friend who you think would enjoy the show, use the share button in your podcast player and send it to them directly. Trust me, it'll make their day. Signing off for James and Mark, this is producer Jason. Until we meet again.